You leave the party. The door closes behind you, and suddenly, the silence feels like medicine. Your body exhales in a way it hasn't all night. Your face relaxes, your shoulders drop, and for the first time in hours, you feel like yourself again. But here's the thing that confuses you. You weren't even having a bad time. You laughed, you connected, you enjoyed people. So why does it feel like you just ran a marathon you never signed up for? Why does your nervous system feel like it's been holding its breath? If this sounds familiar, you're not broken. You're not antisocial, and you're definitely not alone. There's actual psychology behind why some of us feel completely drained after socializing, even when the socializing itself was good. And understanding it might be one of the most validating things you learn about yourself this year. So let's talk about what's really happening inside your mind and body when social interaction doesn't energize you the way it seems to energize everyone else. Because this isn't about being shy, it's not about hating people, it's about how your nervous system processes the world. And once you understand it, a lot of things start to make sense. First, let's get one thing clear. Feeling drained after socializing doesn't mean you're an introvert in the way most people think. Introversion isn't about being quiet or awkward or preferring books to people. It's about where you get your energy from. Extroverts recharge through external stimulation. Other people, noise, activity, that's fuel for them. But if you're wired differently, your battery works in reverse. Social interaction, even good social interaction, costs you energy. It doesn't refill you, it depletes you. And here's what most people don't realize. That's not a flaw, that's a feature. Your brain is just processing more.
Let me explain. When you're in a social situation, your brain is doing an enormous amount of invisible work. You're reading facial expressions, you're interpreting tone, you're monitoring body language, you're tracking conversational cues, you're regulating your own responses, you're predicting how others might react, you're managing the energy in the room, you're adjusting your behavior in real time. And all of this is happening simultaneously, mostly below your conscious awareness. For people who are highly attuned to social dynamics, this processing system runs hot. It's like having 10 browser tabs open while streaming a video and running a virus scan. No wonder you feel drained. Your brain has been working overtime. But here's where it gets deeper. If you're someone who feels drained after socializing, there's a good chance you're also someone who feels things intensely. Psychologists call this high sensitivity, and it's not the same as being fragile. It means your nervous system picks up on subtleties that others might miss. You notice the shift in someone's mood before they say a word. You sense tension in a room. You absorb the emotional climate around you. And while that makes you incredibly perceptive, it also means you're taking in more data than most people. You're not just participating in the conversation, you're processing the entire environment, and that takes a toll. Now, let's talk about something that doesn't get mentioned enough. For some people, social exhaustion isn't just about sensitivity, it's about safety. If you grew up in an environment where you had to constantly monitor other people's emotions to stay safe, your nervous system learned to be hypervigilant. You learned to read the room because you had to. You learned to manage other people's feelings because your own well-being depended on it. And even now, years later, even in completely safe environments, your body still does that. It's not a choice, it's a survival pattern, and it's exhausting. So if you find yourself feeling drained after socializing, it's worth asking, am I just introverted, or am I unconsciously working to keep everyone comfortable because some part of me still believes I have to? Here's another layer. Some of us feel drained because we're not actually being ourselves in social situations. We're performing, we're code switching, we're matching energy, we're mirroring, we're managing how we're perceived, and all of that is invisible labor. You're essentially running two versions of yourself at the same time, the version you are and the version you think you need to be. That split is exhausting. It's like speaking a second language all day. Even if you're fluent, even if no one notices the effort, you still feel it. And when you finally get home and drop the act, the relief is overwhelming because you're not just resting your body, you're resting your identity.
But here's what's tricky. A lot of people who feel drained after socializing will then shame themselves for it. They'll compare themselves to friends who can go from brunch to happy hour to a dinner party without blinking. They'll think something's wrong with them. They'll force themselves to say yes to things their body is screaming no at. And that makes it worse. Because now you're not just drained from socializing, you're drained from fighting your own nature. You're drained from pretending you're not drained. And that's a recipe for burnout. So let's reframe this. If you feel drained after socializing, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're wired for depth, not breadth. It means you process the world carefully. It means your nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. And honestly, the world needs people like you. We need people who notice, who listen, who feel, who think before they speak, who create space for others, who bring intention to their interactions. That's not a weakness. That's emotional intelligence. That's awareness. That's presence. Now, does that mean you're doomed to feel exhausted every time you leave the house? No, but it does mean you need to be honest with yourself about your capacity. You need to stop trying to keep up with people who are wired differently. You need to build in recovery time. You need to say no without guilt. You need to choose quality over quantity. You need to stop apologizing for needing space, because space isn't rejection. Space is how you recharge, and if you don't protect that, you'll spend your whole life running on empty. Here's the thing most people won't tell you. You're allowed to love people and still need a break from them. You're allowed to enjoy a party and leave early. You're allowed to be social and selective. You're allowed to have a rich inner world that matters more to you than a packed social calendar. And you're allowed to build a life that honors how you're actually wired, not how you think you should be wired. Because at the end of the day, feeling drained after socializing isn't a bug, it's a signal. It's your body telling you something true about who you are. And when you stop fighting it and start listening to it, everything shifts. You stop forcing yourself into spaces that cost you more than they give. You stop feeling guilty for needing time alone. You stop comparing your energy to other people's, and you start building a life that actually feels sustainable, a life where you're not constantly recovering from being yourself. So if you're someone who feels completely wiped out after a few hours of socializing, even good socializing, I want you to hear this. You're not antisocial. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're just wired differently, and that wiring comes with gifts. You see things others miss. You feel things others skim over. You bring depth to a world that often values speed, and that matters. The next time you feel that wave of exhaustion hit after a social event, don't shame yourself. Don't push through it. Just acknowledge it. Give yourself permission to rest. And remember that needing space doesn't make you less connected. It makes you honest. And honestly, that's one of the rarest things you can be. So here's my question for you. Do you feel drained after socializing? And if so, what helps you recharge? Drop a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear your experience. And if this video resonated with you, consider subscribing. We talk a lot about the psychology of being human, the stuff nobody else really explains. And next time, we're diving into why some people feel guilty for resting, even when they desperately need it. You won't want to miss that one. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video.